Hello Internet, my name's Eric Lerald and welcome to Sketchy Antics, Let's Draw. Today we're doing something a little different. You'll notice over here I'm not drawing a comic. In this week's stream, we kind of did things a little differently. I'm working on a kind of a side project and I kind of was using this stream to help me flesh out some ideas. So you're going to see a few doodles that I was doing over here and hope you like those. Awesome. Over here, we're going to be talking about a little bit more about what we talked about last week with starting a comic. There was a bunch of people, and super awesome for you guys, thank you so much, that contacted me via Twitter and instant messaging and all these different things, and it was great. Thank you for the comments. If you guys have comments and you haven't left them yet, you can contact me via Twitter, you can contact me via the website, you can put links or comments down below on YouTube if you happen to be watching on these on YouTube. I know a lot of people are watching them through Twitter and Facebook and the website. Anyways, last week we talked about making a comic and you guys pointed out that you wanted to know more about the process. So we decided, and by we I totally mean me, I decided that I'm going to break the process down even more. So last time it was kind of like a bullet point throughout the process from conception to realization and ruling the world with your comic. But this time we're going to kind of start at square one again and take a closer look at it so you guys can better prepare for your comicking lives that are going to be so amazing. I do have to apologize, I have kind of a sore throat today, so I'm going to be drinking quite a bit of water so I don't stop talking and go if you get what I mean. So yes, let's get started. Step number one to making a comic, and you probably all remember it, and if you don't, you probably know it already, and that's just do it. So just do it is something I kind of harp on a lot, and it's something I kind of poke fun at because everybody says it. Like when you start a comic or ask someone who's been doing comics for a while, hey, you know, I want to start a comic, what should I do or how should I do it? Just do it is kind of like the turn to phrase. And it's great. It kind of encapsulates what you have to do. You have to just do it. But a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, don't quite understand what they have to do. And I know I didn't. So today we're going to explain a little bit more about what you have to do and how what you do can help you down the road. So in just do it, there's kind of two steps. And the outcome of those two steps are having an idea for a comic. So what we're working on right now, what this video is about, is coming up with what you're going to be doing your comic about. We'll get to posting it online and we'll get to where to go from here in the next video. But this video right here, right now, is what you're going to do the comic about. What's it going to be? So, like I said, it kind of breaks down into two parts. And the first part is research. All right, and I know I mentioned this in the last video, but I'm going to harp on this a little bit more. So, research is huge, and it's not just huge in making a comic or trying to figure out what you want to draw. It's huge in life. The more information you know, the better. I mean, it's like gold. Better, it's like platinum, diamond, it's like astral diamond, nerd stuff. Anyways, it's really important to have a lot of information on what you're doing or what you're trying to learn about. So in comics, the research is kind of fun because a good chunk of that research is reading comics or looking at things that you like, seeing how people do it in different ways. And we'll get into style a little bit more down the road once you start to refine what it is that you're wanting to do. But for the time being, you can kind of look at the different styles, the different ways people do things, and you can kind of get like an overarching idea. This is kind of like, I like landscapes, or I like puppies, or I like slice of life comics about the devil and a little boy, and they go on funny adventures. That kind of thing. Because that will kind of drive you into a direction that you want to go. Now, it's important to do this beginning steps. People like, you know, I can understand where you'd be like, forget that. I just start posting and go. And that works for people. If these steps are too detailed for you, and let's say you just like, I have things and I'm just gonna go. That's fine. You can work out as you go what you're gonna do or how you're gonna draw it or X, Y, and Z. But for a lot of people, I know myself included, it helps a lot to kind of have an idea beforehand. So research helps a lot with that. You can see what other people have done, and heck, you can talk to them. Talking to people is a great thing, because not only do they tell you a little bit more about how they do things or how they got into what they're doing, but they tell you how they started, and I mean like how they started from like grassroots for a lot of cases. And hearing how other people start, kind of, for one, I know it gives a lot of people that drive to, yeah, if they did it, I can do it. But it also kind of gives you an idea of like, oh, okay, so this guy started with these sketches, or this girl started with doing these little photo things. And it might give you an idea of, hey, I could work on that and then work my way up the ladder to something closer to what they're doing now, which I actually love. I absolutely love this. So yeah, there's that. There's that way of doing it. And it's awesome, and the people that you talk to can give you endless ideas when it comes to that. So talking is huge. But that's just part one. That's the research part. That's looking at things and reading things and talking to people, and it's awesome. So part one right there. Cool. Now we got part two. And this part is kind of, it's just as important as that first part, but the two kind of go hand in hand at the same time, and I'll explain that a little bit better. But the second part is practicing, and what I meant they kind of go hand in hand is that one case, you could have something in mind that you want to draw, and you just practice until you're ready to do that. So you have your research first, and now you know what you want to draw, and I'm going to practice that and then move on. But that's not for everyone. Some people practice a bunch of different things until they get that thing that they really love, and then they go and research that thing that they really love and find out how other people are doing it, and then they practice a little bit more, a little bit back and forth sometimes, and then they move on. When it comes to research and practice, you're never done. So this first step, not only is it the first and probably one of the most important steps, it's never going to stop. You're never going to stop doing it unless you stop doing it, in which case that's sad. I'm gonna be sad because you stopped making comics. Anyways, so you've got your research, you've got your practice, but for a lot of people it's how to research or how to practice. So flash bullet points, tips and tricks on how to research and how to practice. Research first. Google. Done. Moving on. No. But it is true. I mean, when it comes to comics, you're so fortunate when you're doing research because there's an endless supply. Now, nowadays, and it changes almost monthly now it seems, but nowadays it seems like the bigger areas to hit up would have to be Webtoons and Tapastic. You can Google both those. I'll put links in the below description stuff so you can get there. But they're great for kind of seeing new comics and experiencing them, and they're kind of like the hot things right now. You can also check out, there's an app called Comic Chameleon, which has a bunch of comics that you can check out. Again, DeviantArt is a great place for it. Even like subreddits like our comics or our web comics are great for just taking a look and going through. Excuse me. If you have something a little bit more in particular you want to look for, then do that. You want to search those things. And like I said with Reddit before, that there's subreddits for everything. So you could find a subreddit more tailored to that specific thing that you're looking for. So Webtoons, Tapastic, Reddit, DeviantArt, I mean, you can even go as far as to like search things on Facebook. There's Facebook pages for everything nowadays. It's not too hard to do the research part of things, which is great and crazy at the same time because there's just so much out there. It's hard to filter through it. So when it comes to research, check those places out. I highly suggest those. And then part 2 is practice. Now, practice is different for everyone, and it's hugely different depending on what you're practicing, whether it's, like I was saying before, landscapes or small little doodle guys or whatever it is. A couple tips that I would give to people that people have given to me over the years, or I've seen someone doing and I was like, wow, that's a really cool idea. One, sketchbooks. And you might be a person that does painting, or might be a person that, you know, doesn't do the actual drawing part of it. You might be someone that, you know, does the story end of things, or you might be someone that does it all digitally. So when I say sketchbooks, I really am talking to the people who draw. And if you paint, drawing helps too. And it doesn't matter how good you are. And even if you're working on the story, if you're someone who's the writer or you're more on that end of things, keeping a sketchbook isn't a bad idea. Nobody has to see it, so it doesn't matter if you're horrible. If you draw kind of like the frames of your idea and put little stick figures in it or whatever, and, you know, jot down notes or whatever, sketchbooks, notebooks are extremely helpful. And the biggest thing that I can suggest is not going out and getting that beautiful, lovely looking notebook that is amazing and it's just perfect. You want to get a bunch of crap notebooks. Just go out to like the dollar bin and just pick up a stack of them. And what you're going to want to do is when you have free time, go nuts. Put whatever you want in there. Don't stop because, oh, it's not perfect, or, oh, someone's gonna see this. They don't have to. You can burn these suckers when you're done. I mean, I would suggest it. They're good to hold on to. Be like, I remember when I did this. But that's not the point. Just go and fill up notebooks. Just fill up it with information, ideas you have, drawings, sketches. If you're a painter, you can even do little paintings and whatnot. And just fill these books up. And what it does is it allows you to practice over and over and over a few things. One, ideas. All right? Ideas are something that you think of as like a bucket of water. You take a cup full of ideas out every once in a while, and soon it's empty. You got no more ideas left. But not necessarily true for a lot of people. When it comes to coming up with ideas, I mean, it's half situational. You gotta, you know things about the world or your subject matter or things like that. But it also has to do with how quick your brain can make connections. And jotting down ideas and coming up with a bunch of different ideas is a great way to teach your brain how to kind of make these connections. So highly suggest writing down any ideas, coming up with really stupid, crazy ideas, really amazing ideas, terrible ideas. Put them all in there. It doesn't matter. And then with the drawing, I mean, that just comes down to practice. The more you draw, or the different things you draw, you'll not only get better at those things, but you'll kind of see areas that you like to draw, you don't like to draw, or maybe you'll see things that, hey, I'm great at this, and I'm really bad at this, but I want to be really good at this, and it'll give you an area to practice towards. Now, I know with a lot of people, when it comes to practicing or drawing, when you want to work on a comic or something like this, you feel like all your drawings or everything you do should be devoted to that new thing you're working on. But when you're in these pre-stages, you kind of got to think, even if it's not necessarily directly for the comic or whatever you're going to be doing, these things are there to help you. So you're never wasting your time. So despite what your teacher said in school, go ahead and doodle your brains out. Get at it, kids. Doodle on your math homework. I don't care. But that's my big tip, is notebooks. I know it sounds like a stupid tip, but it's amazingly helpful, and I can't believe that I haven't been doing it for longer, and it's something that like everybody has, like those notebooks from school and everything that they doodle in if you're into art or whatever. But it's one of those things that can really push you to the next level. Okay, so at this point, you've researched, you've practiced, you've researched, you mixed them together, you're just doing it, you're getting out there, and you're trying to figure out exactly what you want to do. This step may take a while. In a lot of cases, don't feel like you gotta rush it, all right? Sometimes you want to really flesh out what you're doing first. Other times, these notebook pages that you have filled with ideas and drawings, maybe you want to show the world that. Maybe you want to show them the creation process. I know a lot of people are doing that nowadays. So that, no matter how you're going to use this information, that's a big part. We're going to move into the next part in the next video. I hope you like this, guys. I know it was kind of a quick culmination of stuff that most people could probably figure out on their own, but I mean, sometimes it's great to just, know some tips and tricks. And on that note, I'm gonna get some sleep. Thank you very much, guys, for stopping by. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more about what you need to do now that you've researched and planned out your comic. That's right, we're gonna post online. See you all next week. Bye-bye!